Hi and good afternoon, all participants. We will begin our workshop in a few more minutes. Just we wait for a few more to join. All right. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening, everyone. I welcome all participants and our coach, which is Dr. Mohd Salahuddin Basri. So we are very fortunate to have Dr. Mohd Salahuddin Basri. Let me first introduce Dr. Mohd Salahuddin Basri is a senior lecturer from Faculty of Engineering, University Putra, Malaysia. And Dr. Mohd Salahuddin is a past finalist of 3-minute thesis at university level. And Dr. Salahuddin is also a national coach for Young Persons World Lecture Competition in 2019. So Dr. Salahuddin will be coaching all of you on how to become the best science communicators. Are you ready, Doctor?
Yeah, ready.
Okay, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Salam. Waalaikumsalam. Fine.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah. We have to stop at 5, so I need to start now. So I will share screen of my presentation. So can you see my slides?
Yes, I can see the slide.
Okay, you can see the slides. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay, before I begin, I want to clarify to you that I will cover 3 parts, which is introductions about myself, okay, what the jury will look at your presentation if you are selected to be one of the finalists, okay, and the final part is I want you to be as if you are a jury. So we will look and listen to the selected 5 videos. So you will comment on the videos as well as I will comment on the videos as well. Okay, so we will look at the video together and we will give our comment so that you will understand what is IEE and what is the 5 minutes FYP is all about. Okay, so I will begin with introduce myself. My name is Mohd Salahuddin Basri. I am from the Departments of Process and Food Engineering, okay, Faculties of Engineering UPM. I also a researcher under the Institute of Tropical Forestry and Forest Products, or INTROP. We call it INTROP in UPM. So this is me. In 2014, when I won second runner-up in the university levels. Okay, so I represent university UPM in the national levels. Unfortunately, I'm not won in the national level, but from the national experience, I gain a lot of experience, and from the experience, I coach several winners for the 3-minute thesis at the nationals and also the international levels. So this is the representative, UPM representative that won in the faculties, in the universities, and also in the international levels. And one of our greatest winners is Dr. Yasmin Mustapha, which is the winner at the nationals and also the winner at the international levels. Okay, so I coached them since 2017 until today. So this is our recent winner, which is Miss Nur Aklisa. Okay, is the representative, UPM representative at the national levels, when she won the 3rd place under the engineering category. So this is for 3-minute thesis. So I'm sure that 3-minute thesis and 5-minute FYP presentation is similar. Okay, so I will share to you what the 5-minute FYP, what is needed for you to win the 5 minutes FYP. So there are two parts that the jury will look at. The first part is the comprehension and the content. Okay, the content of your presentation. So what's jury look at? So the jury look at your clear background and also the significance and motivation, meaning that at the beginnings of your presentation, you need to tell the listener, okay, what is you want to convey or share with the listener. So it must be shared clearly. Okay, so this about the background. And the second one is clearly describe the research strategy, okay, or design and the results. Okay, meaning that you have to clearly describe what is the methods, the methodology that you use, okay, to solve the problem statement, for example. Okay, and what is the results? If you have a results, so you need to clearly share the results to the audience or to the listener. Okay, if you didn't have results, maybe you can share what is your hypothesis, okay, or what is the results, meaning that what is the expected results that you may obtain from the research or from your thesis. Okay, the third things that they want to know is you need to describe clearly your conclusion, okay, your results, your outcome, and also the impact, okay, of your research. It is very important because you present at the nationals and also international level. So you need to justify clearly the impact of your research, okay? And the impact must be globally. We didn't want your research to be impacted at a small community, okay? For example, a community of Kajang only, a community of Serdang only. So it is a small community, meaning that the impact is small. So you need to clearly explain to the listener that the impact can be to the national or to the international levels. Okay, so that is the important things that you need to highlight in your presentation. Okay, the impact. And the last but not least, under the comprehension and content, is the structure of your presentation. Okay, the structure must be clear and in logical sequence, meaning that in your presentation you must have the introduction, okay, your background, and also after introduction you must have a problem statement. Okay, what is the problem that you want to solve? After that, you give your methodology. What is the method that you use to conduct your experiment, for example, okay, anything that to solve the problems. After methodology, then you have a results and also your conclusion. Okay, so that is the structure for your presentation. It must be clear and it must be in logical sequence. Okay, logical order. So under comprehension and content, there are four criteria that the jury want to see or look at. And the second part is the engagement and communication. Okay, so besides the contents of your presentation, they want to see or look at your engagement, your body gesture, for example, how you speak. So this is the engagement and communication. So under engagement and communication, there are four criteria. The first one is the use language appropriate for a non-specialist audience. Okay, so when I look at your presentation, for example, I am from art science, but I want to know about your area, which is in medical, for example. Okay, so if you can explain your project in a layman term so that students from art science can understand, so you will get a very high marks. Okay, because you didn't know your judges is from which background. Okay, maybe your judges is from maybe a materials scientist, for example. Okay, but you want to present about a systems, for example. Okay, so you need to explain in the layman terms so that the jury and also the audience understand, okay, what you want to share, what you want to convey. Okay. Another point is the PowerPoint slide was well defined. Okay, so for this 5 minutes FYP, you are allowed to present only one slide. Okay, meaning that one slide, one static slide, meaning that there is no animation, a movement of the slide. Okay, so there is only one slide. So the slide must be very, I can say that it must not be catchy lah. Okay, but the slide must be, when the audience see the slide, they want to know more. What do you do, okay, for your project? So that is important and very difficult lah, actually, when you want to come up with one slide, but the slide create curiosity, okay? Curiosity for the jury and also the audience. That is something that very difficult, okay? But if you can come up with that, then it is very good, okay? For example, in the international levels, one participant speak about blind, okay, about blind disease, but the slide is only blank. The slide is only white, nothing on the slides. So when the listener or audience or the jury see the slides, so they ask, why the slide is blank, right? The slide is only white. So it creates curiosity, okay, among the judges and also the audience. So they want to know why the slide is white. What this girl want to tell us, what is about, what the project is all about, okay? So it creates curiosity and the listener want to listen to what she want to share, okay? So it's better for the slide to be less wording, more picture, okay? Less wording, because we want to hear from the contestant. We didn't want to read from the slides. Okay. Another point is a conveyed enthusiasm and captured the audience attention. Okay, meaning that the participant, when they present, we see their enthusiasm, meaning that we see that she or he really want to share what he or she are doing in their project. Okay, it's not just you read from the slide. Okay, I know if someone read from the slide or someone really want to share what he or she doing in their projects. Okay, so this is what about enthusiasm. So if he or she can convey the enthusiasm, is really enthusiasm to share their projects, that will very, very good. Okay, and it will capture the audience attention, because people know if you are really want to share your results, your projects, so people know and people want to know more about your project. Another points and under engagement and communication is the appropriate gesture and expression, and also meaningful eye contact. Okay, meaningful meaning that you make eye contact with the judges, okay, with the camera lah, okay, and also the appropriate gesture. You need to make gesture, okay, gesture, but it must be in appropriate manner. Not every time you move your hand, okay, something like that, okay, and also expression. If you have huge, something like that, okay, if you're very far, something like that, okay, that is 10, okay, something like that. And people always see your palm, okay, instead of your back of your hand. So when you present, always show your palm, okay, don't be like this. Okay, if you are like this, you not give any, you not attract the listeners and also jury. Okay, so people always see your palm instead of your back of your hand. Okay, so this is the appropriate gesture and how you want to use or you want to minimize your gesture so that the listeners and also the jury listen more to what you want to present. So far, everyone understand what I shared to you?
Yes, understand.
Do you have any question?
If any participant, you have any question to Dr. Salahuddin, you can just unmute and ask the question.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
my name is Isham. I wanted to ask about the slide you mentioned. For example, for this competition was one slide. Like, is there any preference that the slide has about its content, whether it's more or less? What kind of content should be put in the slide usually that is preferred for these types of competitions? Like, does it have to be like results showing graphs and so on, or just showing like diagrams of like the methodology or the something interesting?
Actually, the answer is from you, okay? Because what I explained before, the slide must be people want to know more, meaning that the slides create curiosity. If your results, your graph, you think that it will create curiosity, then you can put it on the slide, okay? But most of the time, what create curiosity is when it involves a human, okay? For example, you speak about can you tell me what your project is all about?
My project is analyzing the human movement for patients through AI.
Okay. Meaning that from that project will benefit what kinds of population?
The patients and the doctors.
The patients and the
Medical,
doctors.
any medical setting.
I think, okay, I see. So because it is very subjective, right? Because you know more what about your projects. So the slides, for me, from my experience, the slide must not have a lot of things. Okay, from your results, from your methodology. Okay, this is not Viva. So you put only 1 or 2 pictures, for example, that can create curiosity. Okay, meaning that people want to know more. Okay, so that is my advice.
Oh, okay, thank you, Doctor.
Because it's not like a Viva presentation that you have your graph and then you speak, you want to explain about the graph. Okay, people not very interested to know about that. Okay, what people interested is your project have a very huge impact to the community or to the country or to at the international levels, right? For the impact human, for example, for low income families or something like that. Okay, the impact of your project. Okay, yeah, that is so the impact is actually referred to your results lah. Okay, if your results is good, it will increase something that the increment will benefit the population or groups, for example. So you can highlight that things. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Doctor, for the answer.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any more questions? Okay, seems there's no more question. Do you want to continue, Dr. Salahuddin?
Yeah, I want to continue. I already selected from your group 5. Yeah, 5. Okay, 5 presentation, 5 video presentation. We will look at the presentation together. Okay, so after the presentation, I will ask any of you, okay, what is his or her strengths and also his or her weaknesses. Okay, so that we will look at the video together and we will improve. Okay, we will improve his or her presentation. Okay, maybe his or her will be selected for the finals. Okay, so maybe they can improve their videos. Okay, so it is just a random videos that I see the videos have some weaknesses and also some strengths that we can highlight. So we will look, we will watch, okay, the first presenter.
The ability to speak in more than 2 languages or multilingualism.
Can you hear the video?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
The ability to speak in more than 2 languages or multilingualism is a very common trait in a multiracial country like Malaysia. This ability is considered highly advantageous as language can be a bridge to connect different cultures. According to Summer Institute of Linguistics SIL International, there are 7,139 languages spoken worldwide as of the year 2021. Now, I have a question for you. How many languages do you speak? As a Malaysian, I can speak fluently in Bahasa Malaysia and English. I am also comfortable conversing in the Korean language as I somehow enjoy following the Korean pop culture. Currently, I am learning the Mandarin Chinese language, which is listed as the second most spoken language with 1.12 billion native speakers in 2021. A survey by Su Yin in 2013 stated that Mandarin is the most preferred foreign language among students because it can act as an added value to getting a job. Do you ever wonder why it is most common among Malaysian employers to list down fluent Mandarin speakers as part of the job requirements? It is because having an employee that is fluent in the language is beneficial if the company aims to venture the huge market in China. To learn the Mandarin language, the student needs to memorize a lot of Chinese characters, the right pronunciation, and the meaning of the basic phrases. Now, what is the method of learning the Mandarin language, you might ask? The most common and effective method is, of course, enrolling into a class where a native speaker would teach you the language. Another method would be self-learning using the online courses which are available on the internet, or installing a mobile application into your smartphone. The method of learning using a mobile application is mostly preferred nowadays because 1. It is free, and 2. It provides an interactive and flexible learning. But do you know, the inclusion of augmented reality feature in the learning material is also effective to enhance the student's experience in learning the Mandarin language. For your information, augmented reality or AR is a technology that combines the real world and the virtual world together. The easiest example of an AR application is Pokemon Go. If you're not familiar with the AR mobile game, this game uses the location of the mobile device to locate and interact with the in-game characters which appear as if they exist in our world. The same concept applies to my final year project, Easy Huayu application, which will be developed by using the Unity 3D software and Vuforia developer. The Easy Huayu application will provide lessons to aid the users in learning some basic Mandarin phrases, such as greetings, telling time and dates, and even the basic WH questions. Besides that, the users will learn the proper way to write a Chinese character using this application. All of these lessons will be accompanied by multimedia elements such as graphics, audio, and AR feature that will be displayed in the form of a virtual 3D pop-up. This application uses marker-based AR, which requires the user of this application to have a marker or a target image such as a book, so that when the user scans the page in the book using the AR camera, a 3D animation would appear virtually on top of the image which they can see through the screen of their smartphone. The users will also be able to interact with the multimedia elements. For example, they can interact with the virtual 3D pop-up by clicking the buttons that will allow them to enlarge or reduce the size of the pop-up objects. Isn't that interesting? The interactivity provided by Easy Huayu application will not only foster the learning process and encourage the students' motivation, but it will also be beneficial for students to enhance their understanding of the Mandarin language. I also believe that allowing the students to freely engage and interact with the learning material is helpful to retain their knowledge longer than the typical one-way studying method, hence giving them the confidence to speak in the Mandarin language as their additional language. Thank you.
Okay, that is the first presentation or this first example, okay, of a presentation. So I want to ask Adib. Adib, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to ask you, can you tell me what is the strength of the presentation?
The information is very clear and the body language is spot on for
Meaning that you understand what she want to tell you.
yes.
Yeah, meaning
Yes.
that the information is clear. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that, because one of the things that she is very excellent is in delivery, and she speak clearly what she wants, and also she emphasize what the projects is, what is the keyword of the projects, meaning that the project is Easy Huayu. So she speak one by one, meaning Easy Huayu, meaning so people know that she want to tell you about Easy Huayu. Okay, so it's not a Easy Huayu application prototype, meaning that so people didn't know what you want to emphasize. So it is very very beneficial, very beneficial if you can emphasize the word clearly. If you want to, if you speak about Putrajaya, so you yeah, you speak Putrajaya is a Putrajaya, something like that. Okay, it's not a Putrajaya, isn't people? Yeah, so you people know that you want to tell them about Putrajaya. Okay, so another things that I'm very happy about her, about the presentations, is how she asks questions. Okay, several questions to the audience. Yeah. Do you think that this application, for example, so people automatically engage? She want to talk about applications, something like that. Okay. Do you know that application? So there is a two-way interactions. It's not only one way, meaning that one way she only present her project. Okay. It is a two-way interactions, but people didn't need to answer lah. Okay. So yeah, ask questions is one way of the two ways interactions during the presentation. Yeah. So if you are live, yeah, for example, in my presentation, I asked the audience, can you how many of you, for example, something like that. Okay. So you ask questions. It's a good two ways interaction between you and also the jury. I want to ask Nick Ideal. Nick Ideal, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Nick Ideal. Can you tell me what is one of the weakness of her presentation?
I'm not sure though, because of what I see for this video, looks like it's very clear and understandable.
The weakness?
The weakness is
no weakness.
I'm not sure.
Okay. One of the strengths also, because she has the ability to pause. Okay, to pause between the presentation, meaning that I want to eat apples. It's not like that. I want to eat apples. Okay, there is a pause between the presentation. Okay, there are more than 7,000 languages in the world, something like that. It's not like just reading. There are more than 7,000 languages in the world. So you need to play with the pause as well. Okay, so the pause for 5 minutes, it is very beneficial. So you didn't need to speak a lot. So you need to play with the pause. One of the weakness of her presentations, I have to say that she mentioned about Suyin, as you can see in the slide, Suyin 2013. She talked about added value to increase employability rate. Okay, and then she quote Suyin 2013. Okay, so the reference is old. So the reference must be 3 years. 3 years back, meaning that 2021 is 2018 is acceptable. So if the reference is old, so you didn't need to mention in your presentation. Okay, so only if the reference is recent, then you can include in your presentation. So that is what the weakness. Okay, and also as you can see that the issue is not actually the issue. Okay, language, more than 7,000 language in the world. That is not the issue. There is 7,000 language in the world. That is a fact. It's not the issue. Okay, so maybe she can remove the issue parts and put yang betul-betul, exactly what is the issue that she want to solve. Okay, so this is only just a fact. So you can put yang betul-betul issue. Okay, so this is the weakness of the presentation and also the slides. The slide, I can see that it is good and people know that she used easy Huayu to solve the problems, but the issue is not the issue. So she need to actually put the exact problem statement of the project. Okay, so we will go to the second presentation that I select that have some weakness and also strength. Okay, so I will ask other other people after this.
When I was young, I always wanted to move to Kuala Lumpur because it's the capital city of Malaysia with boosting glamorous skyscrapers and colonial architecture. But do you know that urbanization will lead to many problems to this city? When too many inhabitants from rural move to cities, the resources such as accommodation, jobs, food, and others are unable to cope with the increasing population needs. As a result, the government cannot provide a better policy to solve the problems in the city. Apart from that, it will also lead to the problems such as traffic congestion, global warming, greenhouse gas emission, flood, and in turn affect the agriculture and livestock sector. Therefore, urbanization affects the lives of everyone in the social, governance, environmental, and economic aspects. You might think that these effects have negligible influence to you. No, no, no. According to study, Malaysia is one of the most rapidly urbanized regions in the world, and around 78% of the residents live in the city in 2020. So, do you still think that these effects are still too far from you? How can we solve these problems? Some suggested that applying the 3R, reduce, reuse, and recycle concept to minimize the effect on the environment. Possible, but today I'm going to suggest implementing the smart city concept. Smart city concept has been adopted by countries such as Singapore, China, Indonesia, and others. There are several smart cities in Malaysia, such as Cyber Smart City, Iskandar Smart City, and Smart Selangor. Ipoh is going to be the next smart city by 2030. What is smart city? A simple explanation is that applying the smart way to solve the city problems. What is the smart way? The smart way is using the technology such as big data, Internet of Things, building information modeling, and others to provide the services in order to address the urban issues. Whoa, this seems interesting, right? The development of a smart city can bring numerous benefits and opportunities. For instance, Sarah Pranamamit had adopted the technology called Smart Parking System, which allowed the shoppers to pay the parking fees ticketless and cashless. The shoppers can pay through auto-pay station, phone app, or touch and go, which allows the shopper to save more than half of the time the traditional way. Another example is adopting the technology called Big Data to collect and analyze the data. The data will then be applied in other areas to solve several problems in the city in different aspects and to improve the living standard of the citizens. These technologies can be applied in a few areas such as smart economy, smart living, smart environment, smart people, smart government, smart mobility, and smart digital infrastructure, which leading to a smart city. However, there are some challenges of implementing smart cities in Malaysia. According to my research, the poor planning of a city and the inhabitants don't know or unsure about smart city developments are the top two challenges of implementing smart cities. What conclusion can we draw from this? It shows that the attainment of a smart city not just relies on the government only, but also requires the cooperation from the citizens. Therefore, here am I today to tell you what a smart city is. The urban population rate is increasing yearly, and the effect of urbanization are also worsening and affecting the lives of the human. Therefore, the era of smart city is coming soon. Hence, it is important for me, you, and everyone to work together so that Malaysia can move toward a more better and sustainable world. Thank you.
Okay, so that is another example. Okay, I want to ask Nurul Hafiza. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hmm. Can you tell me what is the strengths of the presentation?
From what I watched, her body gesture and her expression is very good. Like, it's interesting. Like, I want to know what she's talking about. And also, like you said, she asks question in the in between the presentation, so it is engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I agree with you. The body gesture, yeah, and also the information that she gives. She also play with the pause, and also she highlight, emphasize the what she want to talk. For example, a big data to collect data, but the weaknesses is she emphasized a lot of words. So sometimes we didn't know exactly what is she want, what is the novel things, what is the main things that she want to tell us. She want to tell us about the smart city, so she have to emphasize the smart city, and other words. Yeah, it's just she just tell us, not emphasize smart mobility, smart government, smart peoples, meaning that there are a lot of things that she emphasized. So we keep asking what she want to tell us. Yeah, okay. And one of the weakness is the slides. Okay, there is a lot of things going on the slides. There is less words, yeah, a lot of pictures, but it is a lot of things. Yeah, I didn't know what to look at, and the problems of existing city, a global warming, the emission floods. So we already know about it. So it not create curiosity, or people want to know more about what she want to share with us. Okay, so the slides can be reduced so that there is not many things going on the slides. Okay, something that you think that people want to know more when people see your slides. So there is things that you will put on the slides. Okay, something that they create curiosity. People want to know more. Okay, let's go to the third presentation.
Hey, look! There's a child in the car. Why he looks very weak? Where are his parents? I think we need to do something. But what should we do? That is the common phrase that we usually hear from the passers-by when they find out there is a child in the car. They wanted to help, but they don't know how. If they wanted to call the parents, they don't have their phone number. I am sure all of you can relate to this issue, as there have been many reported cases happening in Malaysia, as being reported in our local news. To begin my presentation, let me ask you one question. Based on the situation I described earlier, do you think most children able to survive when they're left in the car? Obviously no. According to the parents, this situation happened mainly because the child was sleeping peacefully in the backseat. And to make it worse, they forgot to check on their child when they leave the car. As soon as they come back to the car, their child was already unconscious and couldn't be survived due to suffocation and heat stroke. This situation can be considered as carelessness among parents, and this situation is best described by forgotten baby syndrome. This would mean parents easily lose awareness of their children whenever they go out. There is also another situation whereby parents purposely leave their children in the car. Okay, for example, when they wanted to get something from a store and they thought that they can come back in a few minutes. Now, think again. Do you think they're able to do that? Obviously no. Then they will start to panic. So, how can we avoid this situation from happening again and again? Yes, by using sensors. So when someone is in the car, these sensors would be triggered easily. And these sensors are designed to send a text message to the parents via their registered number in the system. The text message would display a warning message indicating that a child or their child was in the car. Then the parents would know that they accidentally left their child in the car, and this would allow them to rush back to the car in time. So, by implementing this brilliant idea, I think we can expect that there will be significant reduction of death cases among children entrapment in a vehicle. By having this, then only I think we can solve this similar situation from happening in Malaysia and also in other countries. What do you think? Till then, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is the third example, okay? And the first example of a good slide presentation. Okay, so the slide create curiosity. So when people see the car and so the mommy want to go shopping, so people want to know what is the project is all about. Is he doing materials for the car or some things to do with the mom? Okay, so people want to know more, so people will listen what he want to deliver. But there is weaknesses from the presentation. So I want to ask Wei Lunte. Wei Lunte, are you there? Wei Lunte is not there.
I think not there.
Amelia Low, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? What is the of his presentation?
Maybe less of the eye contact. Not so sure.
Okay.
And I think that's all.
And that's all. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So this is the examples of excessive gesture. Okay, he have a lot of movement, a lot of hand movement. Okay, from the start, from the beginnings of presentation until the end of the presentation, his hand movement is always move. Okay, so this is the excessive hand gesture. So he need to tone down the gesture. So only only put hand gesture at the place where it is needed. Okay, so it is stopped, for example. Okay, so something he didn't need to move every time. Okay, during the presentation. And also at the end of the presentation, he said, I think maybe he didn't have any results from the projects yet. So he thinks he want to tell you about the hypothesis or expected results that he will obtain from the results. But I think the things word is not suitable for the presentation. Maybe he need to say, I believe that the results will be something like that. The results will be benefit for people. I highly believed something like that. Okay, so it's not I think. It's not just you think. Okay, it's not you really sure. You really believe that you will get or obtain the final results. Okay, so that is the weakness of the presentation. And another weakness is the presentation is too short. Then your titles of the competition is 5 minutes FYP, meaning that you need to present well before 5 minutes. Okay? So the presentation stop at 3 minutes. And the introductions and the background is very long. It's around 2 minutes. So you need to balance up how many minutes for introductions and background, how many minutes for methodology. So normally people will put 70% at methodology and also results and conclusion, okay? And the 30% will be for introductions and problem statement. Okay? So no need to put long for introduction and background, and only a short parts for your methodology and maybe for your expected results. Okay, so he need to lengthen, make the presentation longer, maybe more, between 4 to 5 minutes is acceptable. Okay, so we go for the next presentation.
Cerebellar ataxia. What on earth is that? My doctor dad and sister told me it's a neurodegenerative disease which affects brain motor function and causes abnormal human movement in a part of the brain called the cerebellum. The cerebellum is the part that controls and organizes movement stability for a human. Patients with this disease have a very unstable walking pattern, or as we call it, gait. Therefore, in order to compare a healthy human movement with a person with cerebellar ataxia, we can do something called human gait analysis. You will definitely want to know, what does that even mean? Basically, gait analysis is the extraction of parameters of human joints and limbs movement. Extracting these parameters can be normally done by installing motion sensors on the patient and monitoring them. However, that is a very impractical thing to do. Why don't we make it easier? Well, it turns out that today's AI can actually analyze human movement from just videos of patients walking in the scene. So, for example, if you draw a simple skeleton on the human body, as you can see here in the figure, with joints in each limb represented by dots, and then you can plot the movement of the dots on several graphs, that's what basically gait analysis is, using an AI tool called pose estimation. By doing this for both healthy persons and ataxic patients, you can see differences in the plots already. Well, you may ask, what made me choose that topic? Well, since I did my research internship in Japan on human motion science, I was fascinated about further studying and analysis of human movement, gait, the biomechanics of our bodies, and I wanted to see how I can apply AI and other smart systems in analyzing these movements. Now, let's talk about why current research is leaning towards applying AI with human movement in the first place. For instance, let's first see how a doctor assesses a person with an abnormal gait at a hospital. For a doctor to diagnose someone with cerebellar ataxia disease, for example, they need to do constant monitoring to the patient's movement, and after several sessions, they can confirm the diagnosis. Unfortunately, not everyone has the luxury to commute to the hospital and stay for constant monitoring, especially in the COVID era where physical consultation is reduced. As someone from engineering background, I can help the doctors and assist the diagnosis by developing a smart diagnostic tool for cerebellar ataxia based on human gait analysis. In order to build the tool, I need to gather two types of videos of human movements, which are the normal human movements and cerebellar ataxia patient's movements. I can then extract the gait movement for both types of videos and change it to graph plots. When doing my research, I found datasets consisting of normal human movement. However, the cerebellar ataxia patient's videos are very scarce. So, in order to build a smart diagnostic tool, I need to make sure that I have enough data for the system to train on. There is when I have to introduce data augmentation in the system development. So what is basically data augmentation? Data augmentation is the process where I have to multiply the data by copying the available data that I have and varying it a little bit, creating synthetic data from the original one. And then I have to put both normal movements and ataxic movements in the system where it will learn from the data that I have fed, and the system will try to recognize which one is normal human movement and which one is cerebellar ataxia movement. After the training is done, the system should be able to recognize which one is normal gait and which one is ataxic gait. However, I still need to validate whether the system is doing the right job or not. Therefore, I have to put aside some data from the normal human movement as well as the patient's movement and test it after the system is complete. If the system is able to identify the correct movement, the system will be working fine. In order to use the system, then we need to use a camera at the patient's house and we can record patient's movements maybe for a few days, and then the doctors can use the smart tool and the system can automatically tell the doctor whether the patient has normal or abnormal movement. And if it's abnormal, it will tell whether the movement is similar to cerebellar ataxic movement or not. The system will definitely help the doctors in making their diagnosis, and it will also help patients who cannot commute to the hospital in order to conduct their diagnosis. I can also foresee that my system can be adapted with other diseases that are related to abnormal human movements as well, and also it can be integrated with other systems where doctors can develop rehabilitation sessions for the patients. That's all for my presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you really enjoyed it.
Okay. So this is a false examples and presentation from your colleague, from your colleague lah, okay, in this competition. So I want to ask Wang Jui, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us what is his strength from the presentation?
I think his pronunciation is very good. So and I think his intro is quite good. And the slide is quite simple and can be know easily lah what he going to tell us.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. His pronunciation is good, meaning that people are attracted to listen to his presentation. And because statistics showed that men, suara lelaki, men punya sounds is more attractive, meaning that people want to listen to the man voice compared to the female and female punya voice lah. Okay, so for females contestant, yeah, please show that the statistic is false. Okay. Another good things, another strength is he explained again about the cerebellar ataxia and the human gait analysis at the beginnings of the presentation, meaning that he explained to the non-specialist audience. Audience is not in his area, also understand what he want to tell, and he only explained what is the important word in his project, okay, cerebellar ataxia and also the human gait analysis. So people in not in his area will understand about this project. Okay, so that is a good thing about how he explained the words that he will use over and over again throughout the presentation. The weaknesses. I want to ask Hisham Halil.
Yes, doctor, that's me actually.
Oh, your presentation?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I want to ask you, what is the weaknesses of your presentation?
What I think, like for me, that I maybe have been like done like perfectly was the I noticed like because I'm still in the start of the project, so I didn't have, even though the slide is simple and clear, but maybe I could have added more clarifications, but because so far this is what I have. So also one more thing is because I did it quite last minute, so I didn't memorize the script. If I could have memorized the script and then looked at the camera, like you notice, maybe I was looking actually at the screen for so many times because I was recalling what I want to say. Because if I try to recall from my memory, sometimes I like don't say it fluently as displayed here. So maybe if I could have memorized and practiced without looking at the script, that would be better. That's, I think, the weakness of the presentation.
Okay. Okay. So you already point out what is the weakness, and I also agree what did you say? Okay, so the weakness is because at the end of the presentation you go slightly faster, okay, because you want to read, or you want to finish what already you write. Okay, so you want to finish and read what did you write, so you will go faster. So if you memorize it, so it will be natural, and also I can see that you are not reading, instead you tell or share with the audience what your project is all about, okay? Because you are very I have to know that you're very want to share what your research is all about to the audience, okay? So instead of reading, so this is the weakness of the presentation. Yeah, that is all. Maybe you can improve on that part if you are selected to the finals. Your slides is quite clear what you want to tell us. Okay? So we will go to the final examples. Yeah.
Why do we need to look for other resources that can supply energy? Do you know that fossil fuel is the primary source for electricity generation in Malaysia? According to the data from the National Energy Balance 2018, usage of fossil fuel is up to 93%, whereas renewable energy only accounted a small proportion, which is 7% for electricity generation. Why? Because majority of our system, such as transportation, infrastructure, and production system, are totally dependent on fossil fuel. However, fossil fuel is not sustainable energy, and burning of fossil fuel lead to environment problems such as climate change, global warming, and air pollution. As a young person with hopefully a long future lifetime ahead, the picture painted with climate change was really concerning. So, how should we reduce the usage of fossil fuel and lead to a sustainable lifestyle? Malaysia is a country near the equator and has sunshine all year round. So I got completely hooked on solar technology because it only takes sunlight, which is free and available, and turn the energy into electricity. Here, I would like to propose a system that can save money, efficient, and eco-friendly. My research topic was of the concept called Design and Analysis of the DC-DC Converter of the Off-Grid Photovoltaic System. Off-grid photovoltaic system, also known as OGPV system, is a system which converts solar light into electricity that working apart from the electricity grid. My project basically consists of solar module, DC-DC boost converter, MPPT, and battery. Solar modules are used to collect and convert the sunlight to electricity. Then the voltage generated from the solar module will flow through the boost converter, and the boost converter step up to the desired voltage for our appliances. As we know, sunlight is inconsistent. Some areas are sunnier than others, or cloudy days will influence the irradiance level. So, maximum power point tracking (MPPT) is applied to extract the maximum power generated from the solar panel produced by each irradiance level. But how do we get energy during raining season and nighttime? Don't worry, we have a battery as backup to store and supply energy. My project can integrate with indoor farming because indoor farming mainly involves artificial lighting, water pumping, and ventilation that consume large energy. Hence, the OGPV system is proposed for indoor farming because it managed to provide a sufficient amount of energy by converting solar energy into electricity independently without relying on the grid or fuel, and save money in the long run. The nature of solar PV energy that can only generate low DC voltage and varies according to the solar irradiation and ambient temperature. Hence, with this OGPV system, the size of the battery and the maintenance fees of the battery for every 2 years can be reduced. For example, instead of using a 24-volt system battery, only use a 12-volt system battery. In addition, to enhance the OGPV system, the MPPT system will be included to identify any possibility to improve power production. The sun is still available for everyone. By integrating the OGPV system on the place where we need it, here is where our abolition of fossil fuel will be announced one day. I believe in solar democracy, solar energy for everyone, everywhere. We started a new life with this off-grid system and make our country greener. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the final examples. So this example, I want to highlight the values of enthusiasm and also the interaction between the participants and also the audience and jury. How she's very enthusiastic to share what she did in her project, about the photovoltaic systems. So that is the point that I want to highlight in these videos that that didn't have in the previous videos. So I want to ask Li Wei Wen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What do you think about the strengths of her presentation?
This is my presentation.
This is yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. What is the strengths of your presentation?
I think maybe I get excited during presentation. Yeah.
Do you train a lot?
Yes, I retake many times, but I feel like my English not good.
Okay. Because I see that your hand gesture is not all the time. That is something sometimes that, for example, when you say increase, then you increase. So your hand will be increased, something like that. Okay, and very small. So that is the hand gesture that I can see you trained. You train a lot before you record the videos. Where do you want to show small, for example, increase, something like that. Okay. Another strengths or maybe weaknesses that you want to tell or share?
Maybe sometimes I forget, so pause a while. I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So another things that I like about the presentation is she clearly stated the problems of the projects. About the many people's use fossil fuels instead of sun, for example. Okay, so this is problems that that affect peoples around the globes. Okay, but if you can enhance that, maybe you can more focus or tells us around the globes how many percents, something like that. Okay, because you didn't tell, you just tell the many 7% is only on renewable energy, for example. Okay, so if you can say across the globe, so we know that the problems is among the among peoples around the world. Okay? And also she explains about the PV, which is very good, but the weaknesses is on the slides. The slides is a bit distracting because you have a background and you have the circuit about the photovoltaic systems. So the background is quite distracting. Instead of you make backgrounds and the systems, maybe you can put the left side is photovoltaic, and then small part on the photovoltaic you can enlarge it into the photovoltaic system, something like that. So we know that you embedded the systems on into the photovoltaic, for example, okay, the PV panel. So this is something that you need to think about on how to create curiosity when jury see your slides. Another things that maybe you can highlight also, you have a systems, but maybe you can compare the system with the existing systems and how the systems can improve the existing systems. It is something that we call a novelty. In your presentation, you must have a novelty, a part which have a novelty of your project. So you need to highlight the novelty. You sell the novelty, for example. If the photovoltaic systems that you have can increase the outcome, yeah, by how many percents, by 50%, 60% from the existing systems, then you need to highlight that. So that is the novelties of your project. Okay. So for other consistent as well, you need to clearly thinking what is the novelties of your project, and then you highlight and you focus, and you mention, you focus and you highlight about the novelties in your presentation. Another weaknesses of the presentation is approaching end of the presentation. I thought that you already said, tells us about the conclusions, and then suddenly from conclusion, and then you go back to the results, I think, and then another one is a conclusion. So you need to think about the sequence, okay? The logical sequence of your presentation. So after results, then conclusion. So conclusion normally 15 to 20 seconds, something like that, okay? So you need to think about that. Yeah, there is 5 examples from your, I selected 5 that I can emphasize what is their strengths and also their weaknesses, so that other contestant can see and also improve your presentation and also slides if you are selected as a finalist. So if you have any question, you can ask.
Okay, does the participant have any question to Dr. Salahuddin? You can just unmute and ask the question. Any question?
The important parts about the 3 minutes or 5 minutes presentation is meaning is homework, meaning that you do your homework, and you train a lot, and then you need to memorize your slides, your speech lah. Okay, so you need to first memorize your speech. Only then you can tell or give your presentation fluently. Okay, it's not you are just memorizing, and also you just memorizing and then you want to speak what you memorized before, but if you lost and you didn't know what to tell, or yeah, you memorize and then suddenly you lost, then it is a disaster lah. So I always tell students that will compete in the competition to memorize their script and a few times before they can go to the competition.
Okay, do we have any question to Dr. Salahuddin? If you have any question, you can just unmute and ask the question to Dr. Salahuddin.
If you, you can also chat in the chat box if you want.
Yeah. You can also write it in the chat box, so I can read it. Okay. So no question? I think there's no question. I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Salahuddin, for a very informative session we have this evening. And also I would like to thank the participant, and I hope all participants, you can revise your presentation according to the suggestion from Dr. Salahuddin. and from what we have discussed today. Just an announcement that the list of participants that made it to the final, to the grand final, will be emailed to you by today. So before, thank you once again, Dr. Salahuddin. So before we end our session, I would like to take some photo. And can everyone switch on the camera so that we can have a group photo? Okay, any more? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so please keep smiling. Okay, there's only one frame. Okay, okay, Amelia, do you want to turn on your camera? Wong Jo Yi and Fadila. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to take the I'm going to do the screenshot now. Okay, Fadila, do you want to switch on your camera? All right, never mind. Okay, first screenshot. Keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's take another one. 1, 2. Okay, okay, Hisham. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, done. Done. Thank you very much, everyone, for the session today. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Salahuddin. And I hope to see all of you again in the grand final. And Assalamualaikum and goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Zahra, and good luck to everyone.
Yeah, good luck to everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Again.